Scotland in the morning. Some outbreaks of some showers here, but behind it will turn a little bit brighter across Northern Ireland. But you'll see these temperatures are a lot lower than what we've seen over the last few days with that heat wave. Ahead of that front, it is still going to be a little bit warmer for a few hours before it does start to cool off. But as we go through the day, that rain will start to peter out and we will be left with this band of cloud. As we go into the afternoon, that cloud should lift and it should start to break up for the second half of the weekend, and it will just turn into a normal typical summer's day for Sunday. Temperatures still above average but around the mid-20s, so a much cooler feel than what we've seen over the last few days with those record-breaking temperatures. And through the evening, that is going to continue. It may turn a little bit windier across the very northwest of Scotland with some heavy showers at times. But then as we go through the week, we do see a more settled picture for Monday and Tuesday, and temperatures are still going to be into those low 20s.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's a Great British Giveaway Golden Summer Celebration. Your chance to win 2 fantastic prizes. There's an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, you'll also get your hands on a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry starts at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Alfred.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
It's Saturday night, and this is the Saturday 5 Extra, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. I'm Darren Grimes. I'm still along. Will Kingston, Renee Hunderkamp, Trey Lowe and Kai will show tonight on the show.
Ding, ding, ding. Is it time to bring back conscription? That'll be in the Saturday Scrap.
Should we ban air conditioning even in a heat wave?
And my agony aunt will return. Yay! I've got a part-time job with the ECHR, Trey.
And a man spreads joy
Beg your pardon?
through poetry. Oh.
Kai?
And a runaway giraffe has finally been caught.
It's 8 p.m. and this is the Saturday 5. Welcome to the Saturday 5 Extra. Of course, we want your views as well, much more important than either Trey or Kai's. Please do keep them coming in. GBNews.com/your say. Now, though, I'm going to get straight into our main event because, in a bit of a twist, Dr. Renee is going to take on Willie. Now, Willie is standing strong, fully erect in the name of conscription. Is that right, Will?
No, dead wrong.
Oh, I've got that wrong.
Standing strong in the name of freedom.
Prescription. Right. And Renee is saying, not on your didgeridoo. I will not be entertaining this. So ding, 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 my friends.
Dong, dong, dong.
It's time for the Saturday Scrap. Now, so the question is...
Oh, you still got it.
Should we bring back conscription? That's what Germany is considering doing, reintroducing conscription. I didn't realise all of this was... But for men...
It is only men.
Just men. By 2027, because of the growing threat from Russia and other hostile states. So should we follow suit? Seconds out. It's round one. Which one of you is going first?
I'm going first.
OK, Dr. Renee, take it away.
Because Willie's so scared that he wants to know what I'm going to say before he replies. Ooh. Anyway...
Not wrong.
OK, look,
Not wrong.
We have a problem in this country where we have over 1 million people under 24 without work, without something meaningful to do every day. They're on benefits, which is a drain on society, but more importantly, it's a drain on them. They're not developing themselves, they're not meeting people, they're not socialising, they need something to do. So my first argument would be, for those kids, it would actually give them purpose and meaning, which we know is the solution to mental health, getting up every day and having direction and having something to do. So that's my first point. It would bring people together. It would bring people together from different social backgrounds, and it would stop these silos developing where people actually just stay in their group. They don't mix. They don't learn how to integrate and how to mix. So I think from that point of view, it would be brilliant. It would give them a shared identity, and it would break down those societal norms. It would also give these young people resilience, and that is definitely something we are not teaching our kids at school. We had kids going home this week because it was too hot, going home from their hot school to their hot flat. It was madness. They were being told once again that you don't have to do things that are difficult, you don't have to persevere, you don't have to get through. So it would give them resilience, and in that time it could also give them skills. The army is brilliant at training people to be whatever they want to be. Doctors, pilots, bricklayers, whatever. It would give people skills that they sorely need for the future in a world which is actually not very clear for them at the moment. So purpose, skills, and getting them off benefits. And the army wins because the army is struggling to recruit. This is a win-win situation. Will obviously doesn't understand.
Well, Renee, I understand perfectly well, and I'm going to do something quite unusual in a debate, and I'm going to agree with everything you've said. I think all of the benefits you have articulated are no doubt right. I just think that the point I'm about to make is more fundamental, more important, and more enduring for this country. Because I have the same feeling Renee does, and no doubt the same feeling that many of you at home have, and that is get those lazy, long-haired layabouts off the couch, get them stop eating Doritos and taking my money with their benefits, and get them into the army. And believe me, I have sympathy for that argument. Part of me very much would like to see that happen. But I have sympathy for a greater ideal in this country, the country which has done more for it than any other, and that is the ideal of freedom. Now, what Renee didn't say there is that you're not dealing with children. She said young people as a euphemism. You're dealing with adults. You're dealing with people who can vote, although this silly government wants to give children the vote as well, who can go to jail, who can pay taxes. These are adults. They have the same legal rights as you or me. And we don't just take away people's freedoms on a whim. And sadly, that is what this government is doing more and more. I'm not going to ask someone to give up 1 to 2 years of their life for something that I didn't do myself. And indeed, it's interesting that you have politicians who never did this themselves, who no doubt in 1,000,000 years would run from serving their country, who will say very happily, well, put these kids in the army. It's hypocritical. But above and beyond that, I'm not going to take away kids' freedoms for a so-called greater good. It is a slippery slope, and it's a slippery slope that this country is already sliding down at a rate of knots. But the final thing I would say is that if you force kids to do something, it doesn't make them more patriotic. It doesn't make them more proud. It doesn't make them integrate with different cultures in the way that Renee suggested. It makes them resentful. It makes them less patriotic. It makes them more angry, and that's the last thing that we need. So whilst this is a noble ideal, it is an ideal which we should promote by encouraging people voluntarily to do this, as opposed to forcing them into a system which they're ultimately going to end up hating.
It's very interesting you say that, because it didn't do that in World War II, for which we sit here now enjoying our freedoms because people were conscripted. And they did go and fight willingly through that conscription. So it didn't make them angry or vengeful or hateful. It said to them, I'm afraid we have to do this because we've got a really serious situation on our doorstep and we need you to fight. And I actually wonder if the reason we're in such a mess with our younger people, when I say younger, you would be conscripted, Will, you're young enough. I say that because I think actually we've had peace for too long. And so our young people don't understand what it is to actually need to step up for the country. And the army would teach them that.
Renee, you know as well as I do that for better or worse, and in many ways for worse, society has changed fundamentally since those more patriotic, more communally minded days of the 1930s and 1940s. And whether we like it or not, you're not going to have kids who are going to respond to this by waving the Union flag and saying, I love my country again. They're going to resent it more than ever. Is that a good thing? No, absolutely not. But there are better ways to solve this problem. For example, changing education systems to encourage a more positive view of British history. For example, improving parenting standards so that they have these sorts of values instilled in them from a young age, as opposed to outsourcing it to a government arm in the form of the army. There are better ways to solve the problems that you very correctly identified.
Very fine words. I'm not sure how you improve people's parenting standards.
OK, right. Ding, ding, ding. We'll leave that one there. Gethin, before I bring in everyone else, Gethin says, it's a bit biased to say men should get subscription only. I know quite a few women with a penis. Grumpy Grandad says, I say bring back conscription to everyone that lives in the UK. You'll soon find out who is here for the right reasons. Mad Max says, so if we send our young men to subscribe to be conscripted, will the same apply to the thousands of migrants? And Darren Grimes says this, my grandfather served, he was, when he did his national service, he served in the Korean War from 50 to 52, and with the Durham Light Infantry, and it was the only time he ever went abroad. That was his only holiday, being in the Korean War. And he was so grateful that he'd done it, and so proud to have done it. And, you know, you look at Korea today and you think, wow, look what those boys did. The South, not the North. I mean, you think, look, good God, what hellscape is that? But I think bringing back some form of national service should happen, but I don't think it should all be military. I think you should be able to do something else as part of national service too, because I would have been about as much use as a chocolate teapot to the army if they sent me off to the Korean peninsula.
Darren, here's the thing, though. You know, whilst you now have a job and you do it very, very well as a councillor, you could still devote time on weekends like millions of politicians across this country as reservists, working in an old person's home. In Australia, it would be surf lifesaving, for example. And I note that all the politicians who bring up this argument, very few of them would spend their Sundays doing community service.
But young people today, though, you've identified the unique challenges that we face with the next generation. And I think it is because they haven't experienced what life is like for people.
Then make mandatory community service a part of school curriculum. Don't put this in for adults.
I think this is interesting.
No, I think 16 to 18.
I think this is interesting because I think in a weird way both of you guys were right in there. I mean, if I could, I would absolutely jump at the chance of doing conscription. I mean, being in The Apprentice almost felt like that. You know, you were there, you got the apprentice. No, seriously, you were locked away from everyone. You were focused. You had to work as a team.
So why don't you join the Army Reserves?
I probably would, right? But this is why I think this is why I agree agree with Will a little bit. I think a lot of young people don't feel like stakeholders anymore. What are they fighting for? Why would they do it? What is their future? They can't get on the property ladders anymore. You know, their standard of living is worse than their parents, probably for the first time in human history. There is no incentive. You're seeing it, speaking of Korea and South Korea, less and less young people want to go and do military service. I think that's the issue. I think some sort of civic type of service, doesn't have to be military, is probably a better thing. And I think it does an important things related to what I said about flags. It fosters a sense of community. It gives people some sort of shared reason to exist here in this country, and I think people would jump at that, but getting young people to...
Interestingly, though, Grumpy Grandad says, and this is a really interesting point, I'm a veteran. Once I would have encouraged everyone to join the army. It sorts them out, but I'm sorry, I wouldn't encourage them to join today's army, not while they're treated the way they are, knowing they could end up in court for doing their duty, and they won't get the right equipment to do the job in the first place.
Well, that is a good point, and by the way, I would say that the one blessing that I think of the change of government could be that Lord Hermer is out of office. I think that man has a lot to answer for in that regard. Kai, I don't know if you heard it, but I've written here, Will made a thinly veiled attack on you in his rebuttal against Dr. Renee. Or was it you, Renee? Described long-haired layabouts.
No, that was him.
Will said long-haired layabouts that don't do anything. I thought that was a clear attack on you.
And the lack of haircut. No, you are right. You are right. I should get a haircut. But he made a good point. Half of young people between 16 and 29 said they wouldn't fight for Britain. That was recently.
I thought studies say even more high.
And there's both a cynical argument, isn't there, i.e., many young people, as we know, are out of work, they're not looking for work, they're out of education, and they don't want to. They're sort of lazy. But there's also the generous explanation, isn't there, that the social contract for young people has broken down. Like, many people, I was with a bunch of young people last night talking about this, and many young people now don't expect to take a pension, don't expect to retire, don't expect the things that we...
Into the property market.
We expect the state to provide for pensioners these days. They don't think that will exist at all in any form when they are older. And so what are people fighting for? They don't know.
It's a very reasonable point.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, I think the other point is this. When was you guys might push back about this, but when was the last time there was a war that felt just a bit like World War II, where it kind of made sense, you were fighting against clear tyranny? Why would you get a young person going in some sort of regime change where you're going in for someone's
turn
oil
it on its head,
from their perspective?
So then turn it on its head. We get attacked by Russia next week.
That's different. Well, and the countries in NATO, European countries in NATO that have conscription are Denmark, Estonia, Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, Norway, Sweden, and Greece and Turkey. So it does happen. I'm sort of minded to this sort of civic service idea that you guys have talked about a little bit. I think there needs to be some, not only to try and solve that problem around young people, and Andy Burnham's talking about guaranteed placements and stuff like that, which I think has legs, but also how do you install that civic pride and solve some problems we have in our society?
Well, actually, it gets people off the machines as well, right? Using the Xbox.
Well, on that note, Humpty Tilsley raises a really interesting point. He says, Renee, do you think that dreadful lad that wouldn't get out of that 80-year-old lady's way would take any notice of army military orders?
I think he would if he really was in that environment. I actually think he would. And I think he would benefit from that. But I think there does need to be something. But we also need to stop demonising young people as well. I mean, my God, look at their future. If I was young now, I wouldn't have any...
hang on, I would demonise that one in particular.
I mean,
that little toe rag deserves a
clip around the ear.
A very long track.
Can I add another story? A friend of mine who applied to the Marine Reserves, and he's in quite good health, and he prepared for weeks, actually, to get in better shape. He stopped drinking and stuff like that. He went to the training centre for the Marine Reserves, and because of his heart pressure, or his blood pressure, they didn't let him do the rate, like a run that they have you do. And so he couldn't do it, and so he had to come back another time. They wouldn't even let him do the run. That's nonsense. Just because he has the blood pressure thing. And that's sort of health and safety, sort of lily-livered BS, I think.
We've got lots of messages. Colin Beacon says, as someone who currently completed compulsory conscription in South Africa, it was the best life experience I had, has been a foundation for everything thereafter.
Well, Bill says, though, on the other side, I am ex-military, but there's no way on this planet I would fight for Labour.
But you don't fight for Labour, do you?
You
don't fight for a political party. Nobody ever did.
Well, Peter says, I can see Kai in Dad's army, so I assume he'd be Pike, wouldn't he?
I can see you as a gentleman's fluffer a little bit in the army.
I beg you. What did you just say?
A gentleman's bit fluff.
Yes, let's go with that.
Goodness gracious me.
Moving on swiftly.
Very swiftly. Right, OK. Next up, well, what a shame that Kyrie with that. He ruins everything, doesn't he? Next up, there's trigger tantrums. One man is getting hot under the collar, good God, about keeping cool. This is the Saturday 5 Extra, only on GB News. We're the People's Channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What we're going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5. Matthew's just written in, and Matthew says, if I can't fly my flag without being called racist, why would I die for it?
Exactly.
A good question. Right, my friends, it's time now for Triggered Tantrums, and we're going to allow Will to take it away.
Thank you, Darren. Well, we've covered the redevelopment of the reflecting pool in Washington, D.C. on The Late Show Live in recent weeks. I'll be hosting that again tonight, ladies and gentlemen, so settle in. It's going to be a ripper evening ahead. This has led to backlash from many protesters. Many different movements have decided that they are against this. But I didn't know about the pro-algae movement. Let's see how the pro-algae movement are responding to Trump's redevelopment of the reflecting pool.
$1.1 million for y'all to watch porn scum. Our money's really being spent well for y'all to watch porn scum. Let's go, Algae. Let's go. So the National Guard could come and watch porn scum. $1.1 million a day so the National Guard could come and watch porn scum.
I can only quote Dr. Renee Hunderkamp during that clip where she said, "God, the world is full of nutters." Ain't that the truth?
Then I said I love algae.
Why?
What? Yeah, why? I thought you were going to give some profound remark there.
Well, it's very important in an ecosystem,
It is.
you see.
It's a foundation point. If that goes, then everything else...
But it's not pretty.
It's not pretty. Oh, look, I've done a 180. I'm on the algae side now. I think this is a very important movement.
Right, so you don't mind the green outside of the White House? Sorry, not the White House.
It is something I've given a great deal of thought to, but because there isn't an ecosystem in a naturally made, a man-made reflecting pool...
Oh, there is. Of course there is. It just builds up and develops.
These are big questions that we are covering on the Saturday 5, ladies and gentlemen.
A deeper meaning here about algae. But it just goes to show that people will protest absolutely anything.
Yeah.
Absolutely anything. I think, actually, you know, I'm with President Trump. A beautiful, serene blue, that would be beautiful.
It would be beautiful.
It would be beautiful. Beautiful. Right, OK, now I have a man here who's kicking up a lot of heat over air conditioning.
You need to turn off your air conditioning and remove it from your house. Those of you using air conditioning in the UK are the reason for the climate emergency and the record-breaking temperatures which are destroying the planet and taking people's lives. It is not okay for you to watch the world burn while the rest of us have to stand in paddling pools, use hand fans and wear fewer clothes. It is not okay to destroy the planet, and we need to change the law and make these devices illegal.
Wow. Illegal.
Oh, people are funny.
Sweat as he's saying it.
So also, he's got a paddling pool. What about the hosepipe ban?
But, okay, can I... before this show, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a bit involved in the Climate Change Committee's report that came out that said very clearly that aircon needs to be part of the adaptation measures, and she agreed with me that basically everybody agrees aircon should happen except for, quote, some nutty greens.
Well, do you know what gets me about that? You know what gets me about that? They always say, OK, yeah, you need air conditioning, you need electric cars, but they don't give us the means to actually power these things.
Well, that as well. Yeah, but if you're looking for logical consistency in the leftist movement, Darren, I suggest you're looking in the wrong place.
And also, that there are councils in London, Camden, I believe, is one of them, who are making people remove their air conditioning because they think opening the balcony doors and keeping the curtains down in the day is enough, and that air conditioners should be at the bottom, and it's against their cooling standards.
Well, councils are a blight on this country, generally. And I think we should abolish them. Do you agree, Darren?
No, I don't.
Do you have to declare an interest there?
I guess I would.
Some councils, and this is why I was keen to make it clear it's not a left-right thing, the aircon.
Yeah, I agree.
There are many councils in this country stacked full of joyless NIMBYs who all they want to do is block progress in this country, and it's seen in aircon, it's seen in housing, it's seen in planning, everywhere. Like, think about it. Westminster Council stopping people from enjoying the joys of Soho.
I'm all for abolishing all government except for the control of defence and national security. Everything else, I'm very happy for you to get rid of, Kyle.
Well, as long as we can...
Ticket.
What about all defence, but also a little bit of funding for Pride festivals?
You know what? If we then got rid of everything else, I'm happy to make that concession.
Let's shake on it. Great.
Ice Cold Truth says someone called the Funny Farm. We've got a live one.
Who could that be about?
Well, me or the tantrums.
Yes, very good.
Not you, not this time.
A respite.
Actually, there's loads of comments going back to our conscription discussion that we had earlier. David B says, I did my basic training at RAF Swinderby. It was on occasion physically and emotionally brutal, but it changed me for the better.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Margaret says, I think all men would benefit from 24 months in the army, and maybe some girls. Boys were meant for adventure and challenge. When you see that little boy in the supermarket dressed like Spider-Man rather, he's not dreaming of becoming a benefits layabout or an accountant when he grows up. He's dreaming of becoming Spider-Man. Well, Margaret, I imagine artificial intelligence will have something to say about accountants anyway, so I wouldn't worry about that.
And Margaret Phillips says we have about 5 days of hot weather every year, so 5 days of aircon is not going to ruin the planet.
No, but we are getting... We are getting more, right? We are getting more hotter days.
Yeah, we are.
We've had 2 significant heat waves so far this year. We apparently are going to get another one later on in the year. So we are experiencing...
Bring it on.
No, it's been so horrible. Can I just... James Gray has said, and rather making the point that aircon can help you, says, who is that sweaty prat?
That's you.
No, the person who doesn't have aircon. I have aircon, so I'm not sweaty today. And I'll just read you it. I'm used to it, Darren.
You're not sweaty, though. I wouldn't describe you as sweaty.
I don't know. I used to... I have had sweaty moments.
Do you know, I think because I've supported the algae, I've suddenly started getting ads saying no to octopus farms.
Wow.
What?
Do octopus farms eat the algae? Is that...
Oh, I don't know.
Right, OK.
But they weren't there before. It's listening to me.
Is an octopus wet?
Big... What?
When it's in water.
Wetter than water or not?
Oh, for goodness sake. I'm not getting into that bloody argument. Right, Ian says, aircon is evil, heat pumps are unicorns and rainbows. What actually is a heat pump? My aircon in Spain could switch between cooling function or a heating function. Same device. Well, there's a take. I've never heard them described as evil before, but I guess it's a view. People have the view. We like all kinds of views on this channel, even if they are indeed incorrect. Now... OK, my friends, on the aircon point that
it was Camden.
It was Camden. A Camden Council spokesman said that its planning policies prioritised simpler, low-energy ways of keeping homes cool. They added, residents seeking planning permission need to demonstrate that alternative, more climate-friendly measures are not suitable and that units will not create noise or other harmful impacts on neighbours. Enforcement action in these cases is rare and used only as a last resort where this guidance has not been followed.
It's so crazy. It's almost like these people on the real planet Earth have been trying to cool in that manner. It does not work.
I mean, goodness gracious me, joyless. All right, coming up on the Saturday 5 Extra, it's the return of the ECHR agony, and this is GB News, we're Britain's news channel.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
The very hot weather in Western Europe pushes eastwards through this weekend. Sunny and warm for many other areas of Europe throughout this weekend. Highs of 28 degrees in Tenerife on Sunday. There's a risk of heavy rain and thunderstorms moving up across parts of Spain as well as France. Over the Alps as well, a risk of thundery downpours, and it will turn very hot across parts of Italy in particular through Sunday. But here's your outlook. It remains very sunny for many areas. Temperatures in the low to high 30s. Have a good day.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Hello there and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's been another hot day for parts of the UK today, but it is going to turn a little bit fresher as we go through the weekend. It is going to be quite muggy for places overnight as well. We do want to keep a very close eye on this little occlusion as it does move its way across the southeast of the UK this evening, as it could bring some pretty heavy thunderstorms at times, and there could be a mix of some hail in there as well. But they will move through rather quickly, and we still have an amber heat warning for parts of the southeast through the overnight period. It's still going to be muggy. We've still got quite a few places around 20 degrees for this part of the world. But elsewhere, temperatures are slowly starting to come down as this band of rain begins to move into the west and slowly starts to move its way eastwards through the nighttime period. Now, as we wake up on the morning of Sunday, again, it will be a warm start across the southeast, but behind this band, like I said, it will be a lot fresher. A bright start for Northern Ireland, actually, and a few more showers across Scotland. One or two of these could be heavy, again, with the mix of some hail in there, but it's only going to be isolated. We're not expecting them to be as thundery as they were a couple of days ago. But as we go through the day, this band of rain will slowly start to peter out. The rain does become a lot more isolated and it does turn into a band of cloud. But that cloud will lift and it will start to break up through the day. So Sunday is actually a normal typical day for summer, really. Temperatures just above average for the time of year. But compare that to the temperatures that we have seen over the last few days, it will feel a lot more comfortable. Monday, again, a nice sunny day, plenty of bright sunshine across England and Wales, a few showers across Scotland here. That sunshine may turn a little bit hazy through the afternoon, but as we go through the week, there will be some patchy cloud, but some sunshine and temperatures back where they should be.
From cold mornings
to warm family brunches,
from football to tennis in the car,
in the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there with the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again to start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
GB loyalty points are here. They're our way of saying thank you for spending time with GB News. Through commenting on your say, voting in You Decide polls and shaping the debate, you can earn GB loyalty points. Unlock rewards, reach milestones and climb leaderboards. Don't just watch our programmes, come and be part of them. Get started by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/loyalty points.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Saturday 5 Extra. Dr. Renee's just poured a load of water down herself. So, is that wet? Are you wet?
Oh, I think it's just the sensation.
Right, OK. OK, thank you so much to everybody for getting in touch. I wasn't even trying to be rude there.
Oh, I just...
Thank you.
I just caught up.
Thank you to all of you at home for getting in touch. And speaking of getting in touch, back by popular demand, and dare I say not a moment too soon, according to my accountant, you may well recall that I had taken a little side gig when I was last on GB News. And what could be more lucrative in modern Britain than advising migrants on behalf of the ECHR via my very own agony and column? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do for you today. So, first up, dear Darren, no sob story too thin, no conviction too grim, and no plane ticket that can't be grounded with the rights of human rights articles of the ECHR. And I couldn't beat them, so I joined them for the croissants on the cash. And this is the first one up on your screens right now. For radio listeners, it says, Dear Darren, I'm a Jamaican fella. I interfered with an underage person in America. I did 18 months in prison. Now I'm being booted back. I was booted back to Jamaica. Now I'd like to join the missus and the bairn in Blighty. My lawyers reckon I'm only a little bit into children, so can I stay? That's the question. And I replied saying, oh, you charmer. A little bit. It's like being a little bit pregnant, isn't it? Your barrister stood up in a courtroom and argued that you're primarily attracted to adults. Oh, well, that's OK then. That's all right then. With just a residual taste for children. And nobody laughed him out of the building. It was waved through on Article 8 of the ECHR, right to a family life, you see, and it was conducted entirely down a phone line. So welcome, provisionally, to Britain. I'm Iranian. Is the next one. Dear Darren, I'm Iranian. I hunted a lass 3 miles across London. I followed her onto the bus and then the unspeakable took place. In my defence, I've got a micro-penis and I'm too fat to manage it. So, I couldn't possibly have done this. Can I stay under the ECHR? And I replied saying, Hussein, my love, the romance of it. Your brief told 12 jurors you physically couldn't have done it on account of your tackle. So the court called a consultant urologist who confirmed that everything down there was normal. You were outed by a specialist. How brutal. You'd already done your 10 months, so you claimed asylum and applied to be a sperm donor. The system clearly has big plans for your bloodline, so we at the ECHR say absolutely you must stay.
No way.
You must stay. Dear Darren, I'm Vietnamese. I told the Home Office I was 16. Then I told the Home Office I was 15. I happened to have an Adam's apple like a doorknob. But I told them that that's a childhood throat infection. Honest. Can I stay? And I said, bless you, my cherub, you ancient little cherub. 15 going on 40, it's common. You'd have got away with it too, except you forgot your own TikTok account. 22 years old, your date of birth filmed by your own daft hand on a smartphone. Not caught by border force, caught instead by the algorithm. The judge ruled you a grown man, lumped you with Derby Council's legal bill, and somehow your asylum claim still grinds merrily on. I say stay, Grandad. Clear your camera roll first, though, and we at the ECHR will never have a problem whatsoever. Next up. Dear Darren, I'm AG, I'm a Lithuanian. I grew a load of cannabis, I did my hair inside, and before my daughter was born, I said I wanted nought to do with her. Now, I'd like to use her as my get out of deportation card. So, Dazzy, can I stay? I said, AG, you absolute swine. The pivot of the century. Nothing focuses a maternal instinct, quite like a paternal instinct, I should say. I just misgendered you. Like a one-way ticket. The judge reckoned that you'd changed your mind about parenthood, as if it's a Sani order and not a daughter that you couldn't be bothered with until she became legally useful. Stay, I say, at the ECHR. Spark up. There you have it. You know, it's only one bit. The whole thing is true, by the way. So you've got a man who's only a bit into children, a stalker undone by his own urologist on the size of his tackle, a 22-year-old toddler grassed up by TikTok, and a drug dealer who found fatherhood and all of a sudden became the best parent in the world the second he saw the prospect of a departure lounge. Every word of it true, every one of these stories verifiable in papers, and everyone still here on your tab. Common sense, not here at the ECHR, my friend. We'll see you next time when Strasbourg sends me even more of these things. Kai, looking at all of this, you can't possibly read these stories and think, you know what? Grimesy's been a miserable old boot. I agree that the articles of the ECHR should protect every single one of these men.
No, obviously not. And the government doesn't think that either.
It does.
Well, no, because... No, what? What are you talking about?
Why
we know that, so for instance, in the one case that we've talked about on this channel while I've been on before, Oriel Spence, the guy from Jamaica, the guy who's only just a little bit into kids. We know that Yvette Cooper brought an appeal, and then Shabana Mahmood brought another appeal to the courts to try and ensure he wasn't let into the country. So the government does not agree, right? And the government often contests cases like this.
The fact of the matter is...
But I agree...
Why do they have to do that?
But I agree it's a nonsense.
The fact of the matter is they obviously know that provision of the ECHR is so vague that it can be interpreted by leftist judges to keep people in the country.
Yes.
The fact they do not choose to actually get rid of that provision means they implicitly agree with it. End of story.
And on the point where the judge, on Will's point there, to back that up, when the judge said he's only, what was the word? Something like moderately attracted to children.
Yeah.
What a disgusting, vile thing to say. And to use human rights laws. What about the rights of that child? What about the rights of those who are affected by a foreign national with no right to be here after committing such a an absolutely heinous crime. And the ECHR says, we're there for you.
Darren, just to quickly add to that, there is this misconception that human rights laws are somehow kind and empathetic. They are not. They lead to the most perverse, disgusting, inhumane outcomes.
Yeah. No, look, what I was going to say is that the judges are just following the letter of the law. I think they're trying to make the right judgment.
Which is what?
What I don't think
Which
is
is
right.
what, though, Kai? Sorry, it's an important question. What is that law that they're following, crucially? What did Tony Blair enshrine?
I'm not a lawyer,
into the
Darren,
human
you
rights
know
law?
that.
In 1998, Tony Blair put the Human Rights Act enshrined the ECHR into UK law.
Yes, OK. But the point I wanted to make is that I think there is currently we've a perverted system where human rights lawyers are gaming the system, are allowing people to find loopholes, and that will continue unless the government puts a stop to it. I think I can agree with the government's plans and many countries across Europe to reform Article 8 and 3 of the ECHR, because I don't think we should throw the baby out with the bathwater entirely. But it's getting to that point where it does seem like if you can't take other action, then that might become the consensus of all parties in this country. Frankly.
It's a gravy train driven by lawyers because they see the opportunity to make fast facts, and it is disgusting. But it's like anything. Whenever there's an opportunity to make money, these people will drive it, and then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy along the way.
Yeah.
And obviously the people just keep coming and using this. Nobody wants these disgusting people in our country. Nobody. No. And why should we have to have them?
Yeah, there's a question that no lefty can answer, and that is, if the UK was to get out of the European Convention on Human Rights, what human rights would British citizens lose?
Yes.
No one's been able to answer that.
I do think, though, I mean, you agree, I think it's been abused, but I think if you think ECHR was... Winston Churchill himself was part of the establishment. It was done for good reason, was it not? And I think what's just happened, it's just evolved over time where clearly people are abusing it. But there must be lots of cases that we don't hear about where it was actually used in the most appropriate way and it did safeguard somebody's human rights.
But do you know, Trey, I find that argument quite offensive, and I don't ever use that word very often because I tend to find that, you know, you don't have a right not to be offended. But I find it offensive, and I find it offensive for the following reason, which is that generations of Englishmen have proselytised the rights of freeborn Englishmen to be able to be protected in law and have equality in law. And the idea that it wasn't until after World War II, right, that these horrible colonialist English fellas needed some court in Strasbourg to tell them how to behave. Do you know what I mean? Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, well,
I find that...
above and beyond that, those courts in Strasbourg modelled the human rights on the English common law, on everything going back to the Magna Carta. It's this country that gave the world rights in the way that we understand them today. You don't lose those rights if you stop the copied, reheated version that you get in Europe. You still get them through the English common law and the legal framework that is built up in this country for centuries.
Because your favoured party do say that in the abolition of the ECHR, or rather withdrawal from the ECHR, that actually we would lose the rights under the various articles of that convention. Do you accept that that's not true? No government is going to do that.
Well, as always, I think the devil is in the detail, right? And legislation is, you know, these types of legislation, they amount to thousands and thousands of pages often. You can get away with a great deal by allowing, you know, by slipping in certain things into this. So I think, yes, there is great concern about the erosion of human rights if you repealed not just the ECHR, but the Human Rights Act and other acts that, for instance, Reform is planning that great repeal bill, right? You know, I think there's a lot of concern about what you might not realise you lose in the process of doing that.
Yeah, so all of these men then can sleep safely at night?
I'd imagine they don't.
I imagine they do, to be honest.
Yeah.
I imagine they do. I really do. I think they are the most vile men imaginable, and they are protected under human rights law. It's a perversion.
It's also perverted that we have, and this is not the only case, Darren, this Jamaican guy, the ECHR has given paedophiles the right to stay so that they can be parents. Well, I'm sorry, paedophiles shouldn't be parents.
No.
They shouldn't be around their children. They're not good
Lots of the time
roles.
they're using the perverse logic that they'll be vilified in their home country because they're paedophiles. And so we keep them here.
I definitely would say the rights of the children should trump someone's human rights in most instances.
Absolutely. All right, coming up on the Saturday 5 Extra, it's High Five, from poets to footballers to lost giraffes. It's all in there. This is GB News, we're Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
But there's a huge amount of psychological evidence. There's lots of theories about when people make decisions and follow them with actions, their behaviour becomes consistent with the choice they made. So if you get married, you're more likely to see each other with rose-tinted spectacles, that kind of thing. The signal value of marriage is absolutely huge. I was talking to a young couple who are newly engaged just the other day, and they said it was amazing how it actually changed the way that they felt about their relationship. So it does provide extra security, and doing it in front of your friends makes a huge difference as well. It holds you to account. So there's a huge psychology behind the act of marriage. So it would be weird if there wasn't any effect at all. I found that your family background, so your age, your education, income, affects about half of your chance of staying together.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
The art world has lost its darling, probably the most respected, celebrated, influential artist of the 20th and 21st century. And as you say, career spanning 7 decades, whether you're looking at his portraits or his Californian swimming pools or his spectacular Yorkshire landscapes, he made art for the people. The art world can be a rather snobby place, which is unfortunate at times, but he made art for the people. If you think about the portraits, the people that he painted, whether it be Mr. and Mrs. Ossie Clark, the fashion designer, and Percy the cat, or Harry Styles, or a portrait of his carer.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, I'm going to try and explain what SpaceX is. It's set to become one of the most valuable companies in the world. But it's not just about rockets. Everyone will be aware. OK, well, it'd be really nice if Elon Musk could could help us out with our tech here, because I'm trying to draw a rocket and we're not able to. What is going on? I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm afraid our very own. Let's see. No, we're not. I'll try and explain what's going on with SpaceX without any visual aids. How disappointing! It's 3 companies really. It's a rocket company, it's a communications company, and it's an AI company, all in one. It controls 84% of the commercial launch market in this country.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5, much cheerier than our last segment. It's time now for our high fives. Will, what have you got?
A lovely story that I read this morning, Darren. A young gent called Fraser Logan, who sits in his local park in Leamington Spa. He's a former PhD in philosophy, obviously a clever lad. And he sat down with an old typewriter, and for free, to anyone who wants to come up and have a chat with him, he'll write free-form poetry for them based off their conversation. And I thought this was a little story, but it's a little but important demonstration in an age where we are connecting with people less. We are working in digital offices. We are meeting women through dating apps. We are, I think, as a society, losing that sense of community spirit. So to Fraser, who apparently spends his weekends offering free poetry to people and a conversation with a message behind it. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful service. Congratulations.
Lovely.
Yeah, it is nice.
OK, so my friend Bernie Spofforth has a book out, and I just wanted to say high five, Bernie, because I know how hard you worked at it and how long it's taken. Basically, she was the mother that they threw into a police cell for 36 hours regarding the Southport riots. She was arrested, vilified, and her life was ruined. She's now done a book called A War to Win Back Your World, where she looks at the legislation, the institutions and the global frameworks that underpin everything that's happening. So if you think our government are doing all of these things just because they fancy it, they're not. They're doing it because there is a plan worldwide. Get her book.
Well done, Bernie.
I've got a lot of time for Bernie. Right, OK, now mine, my friends, is Wetherspoons. Now, Wetherspoons have cut prices at all 800 pubs, passing on a tax break made possible, dare I say, by His Majesty's government. But...
The Labour government?
His Majesty's government.
The Labour government?
His Majesty's government.
The Labour government?
Yes, which is the government, yes. People at home, you insult their intelligence, Kai. His Majesty's government passed this on. And anyway, Wetherspoons have cut their prices, and I have to say, I may pop along after this and see what it's all about. I may have been a Wetherspoons once or twice in my life.
I
reckon. Anyway,
good story.
Trey.
So my story is of Gracie the giraffe, who was in a Texas ranch and went missing for 2 weeks. How does a giraffe go missing for 2 weeks? I mean, did it turn up at the World Cup? Maybe it tried to go Glastonbury, but that's definitely been cancelled this year. But it was missing for a whole 2 weeks before it was found, then it was lost again, and now it's been found again. But I think it's a very, very beautiful story, because I don't think there's anyone on planet Earth that doesn't think a giraffe is an absolutely beautiful creature. Anyone here that doesn't like giraffes?
Hard to lose one.
It's very hard to lose one.
I don't have a problem with giraffes at all. I think they're very beautiful. But I do wonder what idiot manages to lose a giraffe.
Someone whose job should not exist the day after, is what I say.
Yeah. I mean, Kai, you've got some neck on you.
Yeah,
you often get lost.
And it's quite difficult not to spot a giraffe as well.
You can't spot a giraffe?
You know, like,
they don't have spots.
That's true.
They do have
well, they sort of do.
Find a spot.
Oh, where's your creative license?
Patterns.
Where's your creative license? My story is about a 25-year-old who's trying to stop footballers getting dementia. And it's amazing. He's Welsh, so that's good. He's a Loughborough University researcher who's found a new mechanism that means that footballers get... He's basically discovered how footballers have higher risk of dementia because of the instantaneous pressure that when you head a football, that it impacts your frontal region. So he's basically got loads of funding to try and spread the message.
Listen, I agree with this, right, and it is a sensible measure, but I do worry that, you know, we're talking about a World Cup and... right now, they have water refreshment breaks, and they're used just for adverts, right?
Yes.
That's
Welcome to America.
These could be air-conditioned stadiums, right? There is no need to have a refreshment break. And I'm worried that actually all of these moves... Do you kill the joy of football? Of course you're going to bash the ball with your head, right? It's a header. I worry about it, Kai.
I mean, the balls have got lighter and lighter across time for that reason.
That is true.
It's not like
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But there's a way apparently of to create a safer to head ball. That's what it's called. Safer to head.
It's a sponge.
It protects players. Sorry, I didn't mean that as a joke. That's just what I'm reading off the screen.
Well, before I bring on my next guest, Men Without Hats says, "Here's my poem for Darren. The studio lights begin to gleam as Darren guides the Saturday team. With steady poise and measured grace, he sets a welcoming, bright pace." What more could I say?
Nice.
So on that note, I'd like to welcome in one of GB News's less respected presenters and see what he's got coming up on his show. Alex Armstrong joins us down the line. I'm not sure where from.
Thanks very much, Darren. I always appreciate a compliment from you. Right, look, we've got a massive show coming up tonight. 3 small boats, migrant rapists. You're never going to believe the taxpayer cost, and some breaking news. See you in 2.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, and welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After the record-breaking heatwave last week, things are going to start to cool down as we head towards the second half of the weekend. It is still going to be pretty hot out there through the afternoon, but we do have these weather systems coming in from the west, which will push that hot air out towards the east over the coming days. But across the southeast, we do have these thunderstorms that are going to move their way across East Anglia through the afternoon, so we want to keep a very close eye on them. They should move through rather quickly, leaving clear skies across the southeast. But we do have this band of rain that is moving in overnight. So cooler behind this band, but ahead of it, it is still going to be a muggy night to come. Temperatures here still around 20 degrees overnight, so still could be uncomfortable for a few people. Now, as we go through Sunday, like I said, it is going to turn a lot fresher, a bit more in the way of cloud across Scotland in the morning. Some outbreaks of some showers here, but behind it will turn a little bit brighter across Northern Ireland. But you'll see these temperatures are a lot lower than what we've seen over the last few days with that heat wave. Ahead of that front, it is still going to be a little bit warmer for a few hours before it does start to cool off. But as we go through the day, that rain will start to peter out and we will be left with this band of cloud. As we go into the afternoon,